Hi, my name is Daniel Oda, and I'm going to be doing my video submission for the Module 2 homework. Um, so, my personal reflection on this, the chapter that really stuck out to me was chapter 9, and that was about music therapy for people with autism spectrum disorder, ASD. And I it resonated with me so much because of there was a vignette in there. I believe it was vignette number 6, where it was talking about a boy that could not complete tasks without a two-step kind of like guide, like a two-step direction. So it was working on his working memory, and I immediately flashed back to a person that I once taught, had a music lesson with. So first, let me just clarify that autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder. So it's happening up here in the brain, and it affects executive functioning, and it affects intellectual functioning, social skills, communication, and lots of facets of everyday life. And it will affect also, like we were talking about, working memory. So being able to recall and be able to do a task because you remember how to do it, right? So, and attention is another big thing too, and that's going to come up in my story as well. So the vignette immediately made me think about this one student I had. This was an older music studio that I worked at, where I was teaching guitar, like beginning guitar. And I had a student once, came in, it was just a trial just to see if he liked it. And the mom, he was a teenager, and the mom came in and told me, so just letting you know, he has autism. And I can't remember his name, I'm so sorry. But the mom told me he has autism, and so his attention may kind of drift, so just kind of try and bring him back when you can. And I remember we were having our lesson, and it got to a point where he was having a really hard time with the chords. And they were beginner chords too. So, we were doing it step by step. And at a certain point, he just stopped playing and he looked down, and he looked so dejected. And I said, "Hey man, we doing okay?" And he goes, And I'm like, "What's going on, man? Tell me how you're doing." And he goes, "I don't have the keys." And I go, the keys? What keys are you talking about? What you mean by keys? And he goes, "I don't have the keys to unlock the sound." And he said, when you play, and he was referring to the chords, when you play those, you have all the keys, and I want them, but I just don't have them. And he kept emphasizing I needed keys to unlock the chords. And after he said that, my mind was blown. I was like, dude, that's so deep. I'm so glad. Like, it was such a revelation of, like, there's so many things happening in their brain and their minds that are amazing. Because to me, that totally made sense, what he was saying. But I say that to say, what happened from that is that it was a one and done thing where that was the last time I saw him. But as he chose not to continue, I admittedly was kind of relieved, because had he continued, I wasn't sure how to tackle a student like that. And I have had no training or any education on this. So that's why reading this was incredibly valuable. So the facts that I gained from this: number one, autistic children and adults, they like repetition, things that are ordered and structured, right? So had like if I were to do this over again, you know, like or go back in time and have that knowledge, like I would have at least been prepared. Like for instance, like when he was having trouble with the chords, but he mentioned the key thing. I could have made it so that like, okay, so let's break apart C major. What we have to do is we have to build the key to make a C major. And there's three little pieces to build and fit together. And I even drew this little picture when I was thinking about this. So it's like a key in pieces, right? So I would have been like, you know, okay, the first piece is going to be our ring finger. This is the beginning of a C major, right? And then the second piece, and then the third, and did it in an order so that kind of like in the vignette with the step process, he would have been able to kind of work through that more in an order, like a very systemized thing. And that would have been building, let's say if I had like a target goal or objective, it would have been working on improving the working memory for him. And another target goal that I definitely could find from him would be sustaining attention, because another fact that I learned, it's that there's you know, a joint attention where, you know, showing the bond between therapist and client, or maybe instructor and student, and also the selective attention, right? So it's kind of like they have all these TV channels going on and they don't know which one to focus on, right? So I would have he asked a lot of questions. I remember that. So one thing I was thinking of for him is I would have, to work on that, had a lesson where every time I say ready position, he would have to go here. And for every time that he listened to it, completed the ready position, I would reward him one question at the end. So that was something I could measure. But I was just thinking of like how to kind of build that focus, right? Because I actually do, after the whole key comment, I'm like, dude, I'll listen to anything you have to say. But I wanted to kind of think of a way to like, how would I work on that attention with the tools that I have now, especially from this chapter? And that's what I would have done. And like my own personal reflection on it is that like going into music therapy, I expected all these different types of scenarios I would be in, and wanting to feel prepared. And that was because we want to make sure that we're giving the best possible care and that they're safe with us, right? Like that we're not doing the wrong thing and we're addressing their needs and everything. So that was a story I thought of when I read that. So all right, that completes my video submission.